The return to school also means a return to gyms and playgrounds. So what matters when it comes to assessing kids' activity and fitness in 2025? For a look at that, we're going to bring in our medical columnist, Dr. Melissa Lem. Welcome. Dr. Lem, I want to start by asking you, how has our understanding and measurement of children's fitness, how has that varied over the years? How is it different now?
Well, Benita, I might be dating myself, but when I grew up in the 1980s and 1990s, we had this Canada Fitness Awards program where kids would have to essentially compete against each other and themselves and run shuttle runs, do sit-ups and push-ups and endurance runs, and basically try to get these badges that were gold, silver, or bronze. But the problem was that kids who weren't as fit sometimes felt embarrassed or anxious about those days when we had to do those tests. And this is why this kind of testing has fallen out of favor now, because of those psychological effects on kids.
Yeah, I remember doing the beep test, but I'm curious, what do we focus on now?
Today, what we focus on more is overall activity during the day. And this actually lines up really nicely with our current curricular goals, which are to empower kids to get the knowledge and skills that they need to live healthy lifestyles now and in the future.
And how do those benchmarks vary between different ages of kids?
Well, our 24-hour Canadian movement guidelines say that kids 1 to 4 should be getting at least 3 hours of some kind of movement during the day, and more active movement and active play is better. And then kids between 5 and 17 should be accumulating at least 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity per day. But unfortunately, only 40 to 50% of children are actually achieving these goals across Canada.
When it comes to figuring out, what they want to do, what kind of activity, is there anything in particular that kids should be avoiding? Sometimes you go to a gym, you have to be 18 and older to go.
Well, weightlifting to deliberately build muscle mass is one of the things that younger children especially should not be doing, because it can put strain on their growing muscles and tendons. But strength exercises are fine. Imagine a kid using their own body weight on the monkey bars or using those resistance bands. And then something else that we discourage, especially in younger children, is single sport specialization and high intensity activity, because this can increase the risk of overuse injuries and also prevent them from learning other physical skills that are important.
And, when it comes to going back to school, parents who are wanting to figure out a routine or any ideas for their kids, what kind of advice would you want to give to them?
Well, number one is role modeling is really important. Kids tend to do what we do and not what we say. So being physically active ourselves is really important. Also, finding time to do that activity together as a family is really important, and limiting screen time so there is time to exercise. And last but not least, doing as much of that exercise as you can outdoors in nature. Nature actually supercharges the positive mental and physical benefits of exercise.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Lem, for some helpful tips. I know there's so much to consider when you're going back to school beyond, the school supplies and the classroom. So that's Dr. Melissa Lem, who is our medical columnist.